Great Monday. Good to be here. Hope everyone had a wonderful July 4th holiday yesterday. BJ Bennett did. He is not here. He will be back with us hopefully tomorrow. Ben Troop is here with us on this Monday as well. Ben, we've got a lot to get to from a wild weekend in Atlanta sports with the Hawks and the Braves. Heather Dinich got some comments about college football coming up here in 2021. Of course, we'll talk some Braves baseball with Gaurav Vidak coming up in hour number 2. And, of course, just football always in the news, whether you're talking the NFL or college. And it really picks up now that we've gotten to July with NFL news, camps coming up, and, of course, August 1, kind of the unofficial kickoff of college football with the fall practices countdown to the opener of the season. But, Ben, a lot to get to, man. Hawks season comes to the end. Kind of bittersweet because I think folks got kind of riled up with what the Hawks were doing. And at the end, Trae Young gets hurt. Didn't look like himself there in Game 6 over the weekend. But the Hawks, if you take a step back, nobody thought they would be there. Are they championship caliber? I mean, I think they still got work to do. I think that showed, but a tough way to go out, losing 2 straight to the Bucks.
Yeah, it was. Trae did all he can. I mean, obviously, because he was healthy enough to go out there and play, just that emotional lift he was going to bring to the team was something that just didn't resonate with him on the court. Him not playing in Game 5 definitely hurt. What Game 4 and Game 5 definitely hurt. And I think what happened is, Kevin, people just think, you don't lose your athletic ability. You don't lose the fact that you can go out there and put the ball in the basket. I just think that this Milwaukee team just had a recipe from Game 5 that they just brought into Game 6. I mean, Brook Lopez wasn't the same player or the same performance, I should say, in Game 5 than he did in Game 6. But Atlanta just never got in sync. The thing is, Trae orchestrates the offense. Lou Williams definitely wasn't, playing at his best. But, yeah, you wish that it was going to a Game 7, but you got to be very, very enthusiastic about the future. This Atlanta Hawks team, when people talk about superseding expectations, well, of course you could supersede them when there wasn't any. There was no expectation for this team to even make the playoffs. Scratch and claw to be at maybe 8 or a 9, maybe a 10 seed to have a play-in game. This team, incredible playoff run. I mean, the Knickerbockers that came and went, shut down the process. And I know that Giannis wasn't there the last two games, but they won a game with Giannis in the lineup, and they added the second and third career win in the Eastern Conference Finals ever for the Atlanta Hawks. So, yeah, you feel bad that the season is over. But, yeah, Kevin, I do think that they're a couple of pieces away because when you play a team that can beat you without their star, and then when you get your star back, you still lose to them, it kind of lets you know, yeah, we got some good building blocks. But we got a bunch of 20-something-year-olds that really, Cam Reddish and Herter and, you add guys like Capella, but you're talking about Trae Young. You add a piece. I hope that Nate McMillan doesn't go out there and shop and get recruited by another team because I think he definitely helps with the chemistry. Wish the season was moving on. Lost to the Bucks. Nothing to hang your hat on, like Trae said in the post-game press conference. Wish he could have did more. But the season comes to an end, Kevin, and once again, dare I say, still waiting on that championship for Atlanta or for a Georgia pro franchise.
Yeah, and this is easily the best Hawks team they've ever had. And you can say, well, maybe talent. No, I mean, this team has gone farther than any other team has in terms of getting to conference championship and actually winning the most games that a Hawks team has won in a conference championship series. So there's that going for it. I think this team is just this is part of I hate to say a part of a process, but you hadn't had a whole lot of success with this group. You got to the postseason, you started having some, and I think learning how to win and win in big-time series is part of it as well. And if Trae stays healthy, maybe it's a different story. Maybe one player is that big of a difference at the end of the day. But as you said, Ben, Giannis was out and you still lost. So I think that shows you still got some more building blocks you got to take care of. To me right now, if I am Travis Schlenk, GM of the Hawks, I'm not even worrying about personnel at this point. My number one priority is going and talking to Nate McMillan because we kind of said as this went on, like, is Nate McMillan still the interim coach because the Hawks don't want him, or is he still the interim coach because Nate McMillan doesn't want to be the non-interim coach at this point? A couple of ways to look at this. Obviously, Nate could have gone out and said, I made myself a whole lot of money. Are the Hawks going to offer him that money? I mean, I think we'll have to wait and see. But I think if I'm Travis Schlenk and I look at it, I say, look, man, something changed when Nate McMillan stepped in because we didn't go out and get a whole lot of other players. The Lloyd Pierce was underachieving with this group. Nate McMillan came in and got this team to believe, and lo and behold, a team that was going nowhere wound up in the Eastern Conference Finals. I think there's something to be said for the coaching as opposed to the players. You can go out and get more players, but whatever Nate McMillan did to gel that team together, to get them to buy in, play as one, follow a superstar, if you will, and raise their level of game offensively and defensively, mind you, I think that's more important than any free agent you can go out and get, any draft pick you can go out and get, is get the guy who gelled this thing together and got this team to overachieve. Because, again, these same players Lloyd Pierce had, right? They're same players that were 14 and 21 and got to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, and I do think the NBA is one of those one of those leagues that you are a coach away. I know people are going to say, what if you got LeBron? Well, that's LeBron. I think that not having LeBron shows that you got to have a coach. People thought that Steve Nash going to Brooklyn because he had all the superstars with Harden, and Kevin Durant and Kyrie didn't make it. I mean, people was thinking, oh man, when you look at the LA team, well, they had LeBron, they had AD, where AD was out. You talk about but the best teams, the best young teams in the NBA got good coaches. I mean, the Knicks, Coach Tom Thibodeau, he won Coach of the Year. You look at what's going on right now, with this young Hawks team. I agree with you, Kevin. I'm putting a stranglehold. Nate, don't go on vacation yet. Wait. We want to get this finalized, because you break up the chemistry. There's nothing like a coach understanding everything that a player does and doesn't do well. A coach that has earned that trust, has built that relationship, built that bond. I'm not saying they're friends. I'm just saying that if you know what I do well, and more importantly, what I don't do well, you know what to put around me to help me show off my strengths more. Go out there, get Nate McMillan the call, and obviously, people talking about Becky Hammond, different people throughout the NBA. That's warranted, but I think that you don't mess this up. The man just lost to the Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals. Give him whatever he's asking for. Chauncey Billups just got hired, and I'm happy that Damian Lillard. I don't know if he's gonna be in Portland, but we gonna need Nate, and I'm not talking about Nate Robinson. Nate McMillan to be the head coach of the Hawks. I think that's gonna have a lot to do, Kevin, with the future success, if at all, with the Hawks.
Because I think you could keep this team together, change head coaches, and this team might take a step back. And again, I think you could say, well, what's take a step back? I don't mean, will they get to the second round? I mean, like, they might fall back to 7-8 seed and lose in the first round. So I think he's vitally important to me. That you go out and you get Nate McMillan to stay. You lose Nate McMillan, I think you're taking a gamble with this team, because, again, this is a roster full of guys that you drafted, right? I mean, pretty much. I think Kevin Huerter, Trae Young, John Collins, Cam Reddish. I mean, you go up and down this roster outside of a couple, Bogdanovich and some other guys that you have brought in. Mostly it's guys that you drafted, and they were underachieving until Nate showed up. That's the most important move of the offseason, is to get Nate McMillan over lure. Because people, again, you got to get some big-time free agents to come to the ATL, Ben. Well, maybe, but I think Nate McMillan to me is more important.
I also believe too that the thing about Nate McMillan is bigger than getting him back. I don't think you got to go out there and scout big-time free agents. Trae just did that. Trae is an unselfish superstar that you want to play with. So all right. So product on the field, check. Other free agents watching, wanting to come play with him, check. In a big time market, check. On a team that has a bunch of 20-something-year-olds you can build around, check. So yeah, Nate McMillan, he is the key component right now. He is the nucleus right now. You got to give him whatever he's asking. I mean, I don't know what the going rate for coaches is this year anymore. But I just think that Nate McMillan a lot. Nate has to be the focal point, Kevin, because like you said, it will be all for nothing if you go out there and get a quote bigger name. But if they ain't bringing you the wins, it's really not going to matter.
Yeah, I would hate for this team to take a step back, and history says that they will, because, I mean, this is the fourth time they've been to the conference finals since they've been in Atlanta. So history says they would take a step back. I feel like, for lack of a better phrase, you try to keep the band together, man. Hey, we're cranking out hits, baby. Let's not go out looking for a new record label and we go find a new drummer all of a sudden. No, this is working. Let's try to keep it together and move forward. So a lot to talk about still with the Hawks. Braves had a exciting weekend. They went from, oh man, this is about to happen, to the Marlins, to, hey, we're still there, heading into the All-Star break next week. We'll talk with Gaurav Vidai coming up hour 2 about what are the Braves' options coming into the All-Star break and obviously post-All-Star break where you got that 2-week push to the trade deadline. So we'll look at the wild weekend that was for the Braves when we come back. Also, Heather Dinich sounded off on some college football. We'll share her comments and respond to that as well. Hit us up on Twitter at Pigskin Radio. We are streaming live ESPNCoastal.com. Got a lot of folks watching. I can see on Facebook, Twitter, and our YouTube channel here this afternoon. Glad to have you along there as well. It's 3 and Out all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. We are streaming live at ESPNCoastal.com. It is 3 and Out on this Monday. Again, hope you had a wonderful July 4th holiday yesterday, celebrating all the did you do fireworks, Ben? You set off the fireworks for 4th of July, or you let other people do that?
Yeah, and I gotta ask you something, Kevin. I know the proper term is fireworks. Now, growing up, I thought it was firecrackers.
Well, those are
because we don't call shopping carts. That's how we call them buggies.
That's right.
Up north, they call them shopping carts. I'm like, I say, y'all got any buggies left? Everybody's looking around. So yes, I shot some firecrackers, and because of I can never ever get JPP's hand or like thereof out of my head. If it's the big one, if it's the big gigantic pack, the one that you got to get somebody to come open it up in the store, like, you sure you want this one? If the string is like real thick to light it, I make sure the kids are far away. But yes, I had to do my part with the festivities, but the little dazzlers, whatever you call
the sparklers.
Hey man, that's the only. Every kid should start off with the sparkler. Even though we don't realize just how hot those things are, like super duper hot. But yes, we kept it very, very 4th of July centric, man. The kid, with the hot dogs, the hamburgers, the potato salad, and obviously the fireworks at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I think collectively they are. I think that's just I don't want to get into the the English of it, I guess, but I think technically they are all fireworks, like collectively, and then like the firecrackers, as I understand it, are like the little M80s and like that do stuff like that. I don't know. I could be making it up. Hit me up on Twitter, at Pigskin Radio, or hit us off social media.
Did you? I'm always excited about this. I'm always intrigued. You walk up in a fireworks store,
right?
I'm always intrigued about how many different fireworks comes out in a year. Like, you go, dude, like, those people, the associates in there, the workers in there, really got to say, what is that? Oh, that's this. So that's that. I said, man, I'm used to the one that goes, the little whistle one now. Oh, man, we got anything you want in here, man. I mean, they always say, depending on your budget.
You always have to have a cool name for it. Like everybody, like, what I do appreciate is that everybody who buys firecrackers or fireworks thinks they're the expert. Like, not like they come out here, they're like, oh man, this is the atomic cat. This is amazing. Then you light it up and it's like a fountain. They're like, I really thought that was going to do something else. Well, how about you just light it and let's see what happens? That's really where I come in.
How about you light it and run off?
Yeah.
No. What you hate is if you light it and you don't light it good enough, it goes and it kind of go, oh, I got to light it again. It's right there though.
Yeah. Like, man, let me wait another minute. No, like I do think they're all cool. I mean, like they all have like different. You got to have an awesome sounding name. It's like, hey, these are the Whistling Goats. Like, who knows what that is? But it's like, hey, these are called the Whistling Goats or the atomic, the atomic bomb or all kind of stuff that they name these things. Like I think there's the snazzy snappers or something. Like they come up with all kinds of stupid names, and nobody knows what they do. You just go light it, and
of course
you get out of the way.
The associate, all right, listen, how far do I need to be back? All right, listen, when you light it, just get back. Boop. And the ones that go boo boo. I mean, hey,
we shot off some mortars last night. They were good. They have a really long string, so it's not like you light them. It's like you're ducking for cover. It's like you get some time to get out of the way, but they're fun. The kiddos love them, and they like stuff that explodes.
Of course, that's all. Yeah, we all get to get our legal explosive on for the 4th. That's all it is. It's a legal explosive that you just hope that. Because I know people that got, how people got a car full of them. They act like, oh, I got to get to the house, get these out of here. Why? Because I don't want it to get too hot. I'm like, really? You think it's going to get too hot? One of them's going to,
I'm just saying for 90% of the people out there, if you walk into the fireworks store and they're like, oh, this is the Jumping Gazelle. You be like, oh, yeah. That's it. I want the Jumping Gazelle. What about the Atomic Black Cat? Yeah, that one. Oh, yeah, yes, you got to have that one. It's like nobody has any clue. Just light it and see what happens.
Yeah, light it, see what happens, and hopefully.
This is the number one question. Does it make a really loud bang? And there's like a bunch of them. Yeah, okay, that's the one I want.
That's all you want. I call it a grand finale firework. I want something to where when you can bring in the people going, oh, like back up, and then you light it. It's like. It's like the ones that come out, like they come out like right behind each other. But no, I mean it's not. Listen, I mean I went to sleep. Thank God, I was very, very tired because I heard that I wake up this morning and my neighbors are like, "Did you hear that crap last night?" I'm like, "It was just going off crazy." I'm like, "Yeah, it was 4th of July." It's not like they're just doing it. We're all doing it, like across America.
Every once in a while, I will say around my neighborhood, like it's not all the time, but usually, a couple of days before, a couple of days after July 4th. New Year's, you get them, but like every once in a while, this is God's honest truth. like March 24th, you'll just get some going off, and you're like, what? Like it's a random Wednesday in March or something, and you're just popping some off. Like, I mean, I guess. I mean, if you want to, it happens. Hey, man, it's June 12th.
Yeah.
Yes, blow it up. That's what they're doing with the fireworks. But speaking of fireworks, Braves had some this weekend. Obviously, Friday night it started. Ronald Acuna hit with the first pitch in the bottom of the first inning by Pablo Lopez. He gets tossed. Don Mattingly gets tossed. Pitching coach gets tossed, and he ends up taking the loss. So he had one pitch, one hit batter, one earned run, and takes the loss in that game. And the Braves did nothing after. I mean, he got on, got him over, sacrificed him in, and that's all the Braves had for the entirety of the game. And they end up getting a win. Saturday it goes bad. Sunday it looked really bad, Ben. And you're going, oh man, you're going to lose 2 or 3 to the Marlins. They come from behind in the 9th inning to tie it up. And then Max Fried, of all people, that's why we don't need the DH. Let the pitchers break, gets the win. And the Braves take 2 out of 3, still 3.5 back of the Mets. But what a weekend. Let's start there Friday. Acuna and the Marlins, man. It's like, what's the deal? I know Don Mattingly tried to like play it down and say, oh, look, other guys on our team get hit just like, come on. It's that guy, usually in the first at bat, right out of the gate. Stop trying to sell us a bunch of junk.
Yeah, Pablo Lopez, I mean, it was a cheap move. I understand that you're not supposed to like every batter or every team you go up against, but Ronald Acuna has been hit. Of all the times he's been hit in his career, I'm pretty sure the bulk of them has come from the Marlins. And I appreciate Snit, number one, but I got to say this about the Braves. Listen, fellas, I understand that, every game counts. You got to come to bat for your all-star player at a certain point. Y'all have to send a tone to these other teams that's not going to be tolerated. They throw at Ronald Acuna Jr., I hate to say this, like he's a slouch, like he's just another player that's feeling a slot. No, he's one of the faces of baseball right now. So I appreciate Snit coming out. Don Mattingly, yeah. Number one, Snit shouldn't have had to tell the umps to come together, y'all. And then for Don Mattingly to say there is no history here. What? Yes, there is a history here, and it's not a good one, whether they're at home or they're in Miami. I just don't like it. I'm happy at the fact that that's what, listen, people go, well, that's the only reason why I want Ronald Acuna to learn English, so he can let him have it. Right there, whoever throws at him. But yeah, I thought it was a Bush League move by Pablo. I mean, come on, man. I mean, and they try to hit him in his wrist or his hand. I'm not saying where to throw somebody, but they got a lot of body area that you could throw at, and you trying to throw at his hand and trying to really, really hurt him. But yeah, I'm happy that the Braves got the win. I do agree, Kevin. I am happy that Snit be getting his back. Snit know that Bobby Cox or someone looking at this thing saying, "Hey, dude, what's up? Why does it take you that long to come out?" But yeah, Bush League move by the Marlins, but they end up still taking that.
Yeah, and I thought Brian Snitker handled it nicely. It's like, man, come on, like it's every time seemingly with these guys that you play, he gets hit, and I'm having to come out here and get upset about, oh, we're just trying to pitch inside. Well, I mean, at some point, you got to look at it and say it's a little bit more than you're just trying to go inside. I mean, like Jose Urania a couple of times. And I don't know if Pablo Lopez, has beef with Ronald Acuna. Yeah. I think more
he's probably
like Don Mattingly has beef and is like, hey, this is what we're going to do. And show we're not scared, I guess. But look, I thought Don Mattingly lost a lot of points when he's like, look, we have a winning record against these guys. We have no he's out there yelling to the refs like, we have no problem with these guys, yet you're ejecting my guy and this and that. And look, to go back and say, well, they broke one of our guys' ribs. Like, come on, man. Like, you cannot be that ridiculous and not watch these Braves and Marlins play and know that when Ronald Acuna steps in, everybody's on alert, especially when it's the first at bat of the game. If he gets hit, it's going to be on and people are going to be mad. Like that doesn't take a genius to figure that out. And the Braves were mad. Certainly Brian Snitker comes out and is like, look, I've had enough of this. You know what?
Yes.
That's out there. It's like, look, and I think the Marlins got mad because Brian Snitker was like, hey, this guy needs to be gone. Like talking about the pitcher, like throw him out. And so then the umps talk. They're like, you know what? Yep, he's gone. And then Mattingly gets incensed because
that's right. That's how you know Ronald Acuna Jr. is a superstar. I mean, I'm pretty sure Snit gonna come out regardless. But hey, dude, they throwing in my superstar because they don't have one. And then you're gonna. So yeah, I am happy that. Don man, I mean, look, you got to come out in defense. I mean, you say the pitchers coach, Kevin got thrown out.
Yeah, he got tossed too.
But listen, next time Ronald Acuna Jr. get hit by any pitcher, Freddie Freed, Austin Riley, You guys need to come out and show these pictures and show these other teams, man. That's not going to be tolerated.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I think it's mostly. I know he gets hit by other teams, but to me, it seems like there's one major offender, and it's the Miami Marlins, like seemingly all the time. And I know you can say, well, this, that, and other teams have hit him much more. I think he's been hit more by maybe Cincinnati than he has the Marlins. But like, look, it's seemingly the first at bat every time. You can't tell me right out of the gate 3 or 4 times that it's the first pitch it just got away from me. No, you're sending a message. In the first at bat of the first game you played in this series, you hit him. Come on, that to me is a little bit more than coincidental. And again, I have no problem with Snit sticking up for his guy, and I would again hope more guys on his team continue to come out and get his back because again, he is carrying you in large parts of this season thus far, and rightfully so. He's going to be an all-star starter. So is Freddie Freeman. Ozzie Albies going to be there as a reserve. So look. All-star players, you got to stick up for them, whether it's Mike Trout, Ozzie Albies, or Ronald Acuna. You can't allow a team to go out there and try to have their way. I mean, you think if the Braves hit Bryce Harper 3 or 4 times in the first at bat over the course of a couple of series, I'm saying, but like, you think they're going to let that stand? Like, hey, they keep magically Bryce Harper keeps getting hit by the Atlanta Braves. Like, you don't think that would be a stink? Of course it would. Of course it would. And I think that's what you're getting here with the Marlins. Like, you just got to know time and place. And I think if I'm a Major League umpiring crew, Braves and Marlins are playing here this weekend. If Acuna gets hit again, somebody needs to be tossed because that's ridiculous.
That should be a rule. If it doesn't matter who we're playing. I don't care if that's Clayton Kershaw.
No, I think, but I do think it's specifically the Marlins because that is the one that the the seemingly have the most problem with. That if you hit him,
throwing at him.
Yeah, if you hit him again, like, look, you're gone. Like, there's enough of that happening here around Ronald Acuna. We've got more to come. Certainly more Braves talk in hour 2 with Gaurav Vidak talking chop. We'll talk to him as we head into the All-Star break into this week. What are the Braves looking to do on the post side of the All-Star break as we get closer to the trade deadline? He will join us for that. But when we come back, Heather Dinich weighed in with some takes on the upcoming college football season and some of the conference. Maybe a little bit of a jab at the ACC, but was it? We'll talk about it next. It's 3 and Out on the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Good to have you 3 and out all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Kevin Thomas, Ben Troop, glad you are with us. Hit us up on Twitter at Pigskin Radio. Also, streaming live, ESPNCoastal.com. You can also catch us live on our Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube pages. We have a live feed going there as well. Ben, we are now down to a month to go until fall practice begins, about 2 months till the start of the season. Actually, it's September 4th, that big opening week. So we're inside 2 months to go. I another reason to get excited here on a Monday. But Heather Dinich weighing in on some things here ahead of the college football season. And with the ACC, she said, quote, if it weren't for Clemson and the Renta team Notre Dame, the ACC would be irrelevant in the national championship conversation. How do you respond to that?
I mean, isn't that nobody's complaining about Alabama being what it is in the SEC. Nobody's complaining about, Ohio State being what it is, in the Big Ten, or, you talk about the fact that Oklahoma in the Big 12, Oregon, and maybe every team is top heavy. Every conference is top heavy. Sometimes you just got a elite team at the top. But I would say this, Clemson, okay, if Clemson wasn't good, that means somebody else is good. I mean, okay, Clemson's down. Now, who is it? Step up North Carolina, step up Virginia Tech, step up Miami, step up, Boston College. I just think that when you start saying the whole conference will be irrelevant, no, because every team has 2 or 3 teams, and right now the ACC has one elite team at the top, and that's what you hope gives you enough, recognition for your conference to be represented. The Pac-12 right now is heated. Because they were like, well, dude, what are we? I mean, outside of USC and Oregon, we got a bunch of Arizona States, UW and Washington State used to be good. I mean, so, yeah, I understand what she means, but we are what? I mean, I remember Florida State was doing what Clemson was doing right now for 14, 15 straight years. So, yeah, right now, the guy, those guys from Clemson are doing it. But, yeah, Kevin, if Clemson wasn't good, somebody else would be good. And I don't think that, by having one team making your whole conference relevant, is a bad thing. I think every conference is a season away, or really every season. I remember when Florida wasn't making bowl games, they were still saying, well, we in the same conference as Alabama. Vanderbilt say that too. And Vanderbilt ain't finna sniff no freaking college football playoff. But, yeah, I understand what she means. But if one team isn't good, another team will replace them at the top.
Yeah, and look, I just look at it and say, outside of the SEC, you could, as you said, the same could probably be said for every conference. And you could say, what is Penn State? Not, I mean, Penn State is probably in the same kind of category as a North Carolina right now, where you look, hey, they could be a contender, but they got to step up and prove that they can get it done, right? I mean, Wisconsin, some of those teams like that. Big 12, it's Oklahoma and everybody else. If Oklahoma wasn't there, who would it be? Iowa State, I mean, Texas. And so I think that's a little bit unfair towards the ACC. I think you could say the same about every conference except the SEC, which really probably has 2 or 3 like just top class, really, really good teams. And maybe I can dial it back and say 2, Alabama and Georgia right now, Texas A&M kind of on that cusp. But I saw that and I was like, I feel like you could say that about a lot of conferences, that they would be irrelevant if this team just fell off the face of the earth and took them out. But then again, a vacuum is created and somebody's got to step up and go out there and compete. So, I get what she's trying to say. I just think that seems to be a popular narrative that you can throw out there on the ACC that, oh, well, it's Clemson and everybody else just might as well not play because they're just awful and terrible. But to the SEC, she did say this, Ben, Alabama, Georgia on a collision course again. The Bulldogs should have one of the league's better quarterbacks in JT Daniels, who will be surrounded by playmakers. Georgia's legitimacy as a playoff contender will be tested in the season opener against Clemson. I think that kind of goes without saying.
Yes, and what hasn't been the narrative since Kirby Smart has become the head coach at Georgia, maybe outside of his first year. Georgia and Alabama on a crash course every year because they are the 2 teams to beat in the east and the west side of the SEC. And JT Daniels is definitely the sample size that he gave us in 2020. Definitely, you lick at your chops if you are a Georgia fan to see what he can do with what they've done in the offseason, being able to add guys like Eric Gilbert and that running game, that offensive line. But once again, some of these narratives are already built in. Hey, if you can ask a random person, I mean, what do you think about the SEC? Alabama's going to be good. Georgia's going to be good. Who's Georgia quarterback? I don't know. But Georgia's usually good every year. Alabama's usually good every year. I think, too, Kevin, when you start talking about the SEC, is what bigger than the 2 teams at the top, not being how much it takes to change that narrative. You mentioned Texas A&M. Very, very good team. Lost 1 game last year, but it was to Alabama. 2 years removed from LSU having one of the best teams we ever seen. In college football. Auburn is the I don't know. It's like the weirdest team. Auburn to go with Cam Newton, and then they'll go back to the national championship with a guy from Georgia who used to play DB. So it's a lot of storylines. But yeah, Alabama, Georgia. The understudy of Nick Saban trying to be the first to beat Alabama. But Bryce Young, he's young in age, but he gonna be ready to go when the regular season starts. But yeah, Georgia, Alabama, crash course. Can anybody in the West, switch that up? Because I think Georgia right now, man, until I see something different, they're gonna be hard to beat this year.
Yeah, I think that's the story that everybody wants to see happen. It's not so much who are the two favorites. We'll have the SEC Media Days coming up, and I have no question it'll be Georgia and Alabama as the two favorites to go to the SEC championship game. But I think the big question is who can knock one of those teams off to, as you said, upset the apple cart, so to speak. Is it Florida? Is it Texas A&M? Is it LSU or an Auburn? I think those things remain to be seen. So, yeah, Georgia and Alabama, until proven otherwise, are on the collision course to go out there and play for an SEC championship game again. Surprise, surprise.
And the thing is, Kev, we've seen this movie, right? We think we know how this movie ends. Alabama is the only character in the movie that will go to the director and say, "I want to kill myself this year." What? Yeah, I think it'll make it more suspenseful. I'm still gonna be there in the end. Like I'm gonna reincarnate myself and still be there for the final battle. But I think give somebody else a chance. I mean, I think for both maybe a Jimbo Fisher and a Dan Mullen, you got to go out there and, earn that money. Dan Mullen just got a $1.5 million extension. I'm not counting his money, but the man did win the East last year, and I think they rewarded him for what he was able to do in an all SEC schedule. If you are Jimbo Fisher, you set the bar for guaranteed contract. 10 years, $75 million. I think he's 4 years into it now. That's not for 7.5 wins again. You got to find a way to beat Alabama, beat LSU, beat Auburn, beat Ole Miss, beat your crossover teams, and dare I say, be the first time I think Texas A&M would be in an SEC championship since they came over to the SEC. So can Dan Mullen, can Jimbo Fisher potentially play each other in Atlanta, or at least knock off Georgia, knock off Alabama? Knocking off Georgia might be, now I don't want to use the word easy, it might not be a harder pass, because knocking off Alabama, I mean, the nation definitely says, wait, Alabama lost? Yeah, that doesn't usually happen. But, when it does, just make sure you go to Vegas and play them numbers, because that might be the winning ticket.
Yeah, we'll see if anybody has that cashing in of the lottery ticket at the end of the day. We got so much to get to here on 3 and Out. Hit us up on Twitter at Pigskin Radio, We're streaming live at ESPNCoastal.com. We got Take 3 around the corner. Also, Gaurav Vidak of Talking Chop will join us. What are the Braves looking at heading into the All-Star break? And on the backside of the All-Star break, when you start talking about the trade deadline on the 31st, do the Braves have enough tradable pieces? Who would be a tradable piece to try to make you a further contender here in 2021? We'll talk to him about that coming up in just a little bit. It is 3 and Out all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Welcome back. It is 3 and Out here on this Monday. Kevin Thomas, Ben Troop here with you. We've got the Braves and the Pirates coming up in just a little bit. And again, a series you'd like for the Braves to win because the Pirates stink. They have the second worst record in the National League. PJ, I know you're a Pennsylvania guy, but I mean, it's true. You're gonna have to start rooting for the Phillies or something because, man, the Pirates have the classic unis and like some of that old school tradition, but they are bad. You could fill out an all-star team with all the dudes who are awesome that used to be on the Pirates. Like, you realize this, right?
I mean, and for those of you who can't tell in Kevin's voice, Kevin is a baseball like truist. So Kevin's like, listen, I don't like calling baseball players and teams that stink, but if they stink, I'm gonna say they stink. Now they're still in the pros. I mean, if that's what you want to call it, they still get paid. I'm pretty sure they still get but earning their money is a little bit different. But what scares me about this series, Kevin, is what I say about the Braves. When the Braves play up the great competition, like they'll go out there and win against Bauer, against Kershaw, and then they'll get the Pirates, and you'll be like, oh God, they'll give up 2 runs in the first. I'm like, listen, Braves, get these dubs. I mean, because at the end of the day, Kevin, this is about confidence building. I guess in the NFL we would call it, padding them stats. This is I'm not saying this is a gimmick because they pros too. I respect what they do, but I think the Braves should be able to go out there and get some much needed wins, much needed confidence.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, Tyler Glasnow, I think Chris Archer, Charlie Morton, Garrett Cole, all these guys were Pittsburgh Pirates at one point. PJ, it's got to make you frustrated. I was like, busting PJ's chops as well because he's like Mr. Steelers. All that, and then it's like, yeah, I mean, I guess I like the Pirates. Like that, like that's how he falls off. He's like, I love Pittsburgh. It's a great town, man. Go Steelers. You like the Pirates? Well, I mean, yeah, but they're not very good.
No.
He's like, the season starts on April 1st. By April 3rd, we're kind of like, yeah, we're done.
But you spoiled if you from PA, right? Like if you from Pennsylvania, you be like, yeah, I mean, you got the Steelers or you got the Eagles, right? You know what I'm saying? You got the Phillies, you got the Pirates. I think what happens is too, I got family in Philadelphia. When I tell you they'll switch it up depending on who's playing well, I said, man, what happened to the Philadelphia Eagle jerseys? No, man, Rosenberg and them. Y'all are fake. Y'all was just telling me how, but baseball is a little more like, it's not more wishy-washy. They'll say, I mean, look, man, the Phillies.
You ride Pirates. It out if your team's bad. You just stick with it.
Well, being from the great state of Georgia, you don't get isn't that like, Kevin? That's like saying, hey man, you from Georgia, who you root for? I really like Drew Brees. You better like Drew Brees and still root for them Falcons. I wish you would say you root for them Saints. We got diehards in the state of Georgia. It's just that we know how it ends. So during the season, we the best. But as it get close to crunch time, we But in PA, Pennsylvania, oh man, you talking about wishy-washy. I will give PJ this though. Philadelphia finally get their Super Bowl. PJ was telling his family, oh, congratulations. We got 6. Or something like that. Because it becomes we when they win, it becomes them when they lose. And so, so shout out to them Pirates. We need y'all to stick with y'all losing ways. Braves get a big dub.
No, PJ is a Pittsburgh Steelers fan through and through. He said when he was a kid, his bath towel was a terrible towel. So, that's how you know when you're full in. It's like, hey, we didn't have mom didn't have nice towels. It was like we had a terrible towel. That's what we used when we had to take a bath and all that. But Braves back tonight against the Pirates. Max Fried, who got the win with the game-winning hit yesterday afternoon, is now the starting pitcher tonight. Pitchers who rake, pitchers who walk off. Again, tell me, all you naysayers out there, why we don't need pitchers hitting. Every time you start doubting them, you see stuff like, Jacob deGrom ripping balls, Max Fried walk off. Come on, man! You want to see it. Quit denying.
See, there it is. 2020. No, this is what it is. 2020. Kevin had to tell his little leaguers, listen, I don't want to yell at this coach. I don't got to play defense. I'm a DH. No. You're a baseball player. And then 2021 comes, they get rid of DH again. They go back, just in American League. I mean, isn't that the most, not the biggest slap in the face, but isn't that the most fulfilling thing though, Kevin? Max Fried go, not only do I got to help y'all make it to the 6th inning, so, keep our bullpen in the bullpen as long as possible, I'm helping y'all get dubs now. So the one this Monday with BJ not being on the show, I know Kevin's ready to say, see there? Baseball, I mean, hashtag base. I mean, pitchers of baseball players too. They can hit. They're not going. I mean, some of these players might as well be pitchers with some, with some of these batting averages this season. But yeah, Max Fried with the walk off, Kevin. And I know we got some. Listen, if you are in the dugout, wait on Max Fried to run the first. Wait on Max Fried to run the first, because we don't want we don't want no nonsense like, oh, the hit doesn't count. We got interference. But yeah, big dub, and a great job of Max Fried.
Yeah, the Braves and the Pirates coming up tonight. And PJ, your brother tweeting into the show saying it's all about whether or not you're a Flyers fan or a Penguins loser. Do we have? No, wait. So you like Pittsburgh? Your brother is a Philly guy. That's got to go over well. I'm sure both of them are Philly guys.
See, that's what it is. So
that's got to go over
younger
well.
Brother, listen, I like tradition.
Are you the contrarian or are they the contrarians? As far as that goes, they are. Okay.
PJ just talk trash.
He said the Penguins don't do a whole lot of losing. Maybe just their fans are losers. Is that what he was trying to say? I don't know.
Most fans are, and they need to know they are. Most fans are losers, me included. But listen, if you're a loser, but your team is a winner, you good. But if you're a loser as a fan and your team is losing, please be quiet. Stay off of Twitter talking trash like hashtag this is gonna be the year. Who am I talking about? I'm talking to Dallas Cowboy fans. If you can hear me, come at me. I'm at Biscuits and Gravy on social media.
Bid Troop, sending you to the wrong place so that I will handle all of your hate tweets and things of that nature. But no, we got Braves coming up in just a little bit. We'll take 3 around the corner. Gaurav Vidak will talk some Braves baseball with us as well, as we are coming to the All-Star break in Major League Baseball, and a lot of young, fresh faces going to be there in Colorado. Kind of the new wave of young stars for Major League Baseball. It is a thing of beauty to behold. So we'll look to talk about that as well. And I wish BJ was here, Ben, because we'll talk about it. Trevor Lawrence, now officially a paid Jaguar. He was a Jaguar when he got drafted, but now he's a paid Jaguar. We'll talk about what the Jags ponied up to make sure he's still their quarterback.
Yeah, BJ. I mean, it was laundry day all 2020. His Jaguar stuff just wasn't, and all of a sudden,
outside of week one.
Okay, yeah. He's like, we was one of those week one. Yeah, a lot of teams were, But what happened after that? Y'all guaranteed that y'all was gonna make sure the mock drafts lived up to the billing. They don't got to trade up or do nothing. But yeah, But shout out to Trevor Lawrence getting that cheese. It's not like he was hurting for the money. His endorsement money is probably even more ridiculous. The young man went from Clemson to Augusta National, to Jacksonville, grew up in Georgia, went to college in South Carolina. Now he's in Florida. He's living the life.
Yeah. We've got more to come here on 3 and Out. We'll get to take 3 when we come back. Plus, we'll look at one of the great all-time American athletes coming up in hour number 2, getting it done again in just amazing fashion. We'll get to that in hour 2, as well as Gaurav Vidak. This is 3 and Out, all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Love to hear from you on Twitter at Pigskin Radio. We are streaming live, ESPNCoastal.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, live streaming there as well. If you missed any portion of the show, ESPNCoastal.com. It is 3 and Out all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Kevin Thomas, Ben Troop, glad you were with us on this Monday. Plenty to get to this hour. Gaurav Vidoc, Talking Chop, will join us coming up this hour in about 30 minutes. We'll get to just a true American legend coming up here this hour as well. Before we get to Take 3, Ben did have some news out there wanted to pass along. Nate McMillan apparently has got a 4-year deal that they've agreed to with the Atlanta Hawks. So Nate McMillan not going anywhere. 4-year deal. Obviously, Adrian Wojnarowski on that 4-year deal for Nate McMillan to stay now the permanent Atlanta Hawks coach.
Kevin, it shows that, whoever runs Atlanta Hawks Twitter definitely be listening. I mean, sometimes we say things that you can go straight to the bank with, and not the bank of me and BJ, the bank of Kevin. If you talk about Nate McMillan money, no, but I'm happy for Nate McMillan. I'm happy for the Hawks because they see. It's like if you have don't miss the open layups. The Atlanta Hawks front office went out there and got it done. Woj, when Woj is the Adam Schefter of NBA, if he says it, you can take it to the bank. 4-year deal. I'm happy. So now, Kevin, you can focus on what free agents are you looking to add to an already young roster led by Trae Young. But yeah, Nate McMillan 4-year deal. I don't know if it's breaking news yet, but happy that the Hawks got it done.
That being said, let's take 3 here on 3 and Out. Hawks are eliminated, as we talked about over the weekend, but Nate McMillan stick around is good news. So that leaves us with the Suns and the Bucks as the NBA Finals. Who's your pick to win it, Ben?
I do like what I see from the Bucks, Kevin. But I just CP3, something me and you talked about. I don't think anybody is deserving of a championship. I think the best team will win it. But CP3, with what he's gone through in his career, from the Pelicans to the Clippers to Houston, to now being, with this young, Suns team with Devin Booker and Aiden and those guys. I just think that when CP3 is out there, he makes everybody better. And dare I say, he's obviously a distributor, but being able to score the way he's been scoring, give me those. I hope it goes 7, but give me those Suns.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Suns. I feel like I hate saying that somebody's due because nobody deserves one or should have one. But Chris Paul's a guy that's been around the league for a long time, finally gets a chance to get after it here in the finals. Wouldn't be upset to see him win a championship, and I think Phoenix has got a really underrated basketball team there, Ben. I'm going to go with the Suns as well. Chris Paul, as we just talked about there, this is take 2, going to the finals. Is Chris Paul been a top 5 point guard ever?
No. And I say that respectfully. Chris Paul is one of the greatest point guards to ever come through the NBA, Kevin. But I mean, when you start going through it, it's like we start saying top. You get to 5 real quick. I mean, Magic. I mean, you start talking about AI. I mean, you start talking about Isaiah Thomas. You start talking about John Stockton. I mean, you start talking about Jason Kidd. You start talking about Kyrie Irving. I mean, if we really start going down the list, I don't even know if Steph is considered a point guard. I know he's probably considered a shooter. I mean, I just think for me, he's probably in the top 15 because the point guard position is one that we kind of get away from with the way guys can put the ball in the basket these days. Is CP3 one of the best to ever do it? Absolutely. Longevity? Yes. Like right now, he's my Cal Ripken Jr. point guards. I mean, this guy, he's doing it at a very, very high level, but top 5 point guards in the NBA? I love you, CP3, but no, I can't put you in the top 5.
The more you start thinking about it, is he top 10? I know you said maybe top 15, but you started thinking about Gary Payton was a phenomenal point guard. Would you take Chris Paul over Gary Payton?
No.
No.
Yeah. I wouldn't take Gary Payton. I wouldn't take Chris Paul over Gary Payton, but once again, we want to crown these players too early. If Chris, if people go, if Pat Mahomes would have won the Super Bowl, is he the GOAT? No, because that would have been number 2. Like, if that's the case, Eli's the GOAT because he beat the GOAT twice. No, that doesn't make that. We are creatures of the moment. CP3 is finally getting to play in the finals. I get it, but like you're saying, Kevin, if we really had to focus on it, it's like somebody walking and say, "What about this guy? Oh yeah, what about that guy? Oh yeah." So top 10, maybe. Top 5, nah, man. I mean, that's a distinction that only the greatest of the great, even though CP3 is great, but top 5, no, I can't give him that distinction.
Yeah, I mean that's prisoner of the moment type stuff there. I think if you're like, oh, Chris Paul, one of the top 5 point guards to do it, he's very good. He is very good, but I think when you start evaluating, is Chris Paul one of the, and forgive me if I'm being disrespectful here, Ben, but is Chris Paul even one of the top 4 point guards playing now? I'm like of his era. And I'm saying that like as a legit question. Of this era, is he even a top 4 point guard?
I don't think so. I mean, because look, once again, like Steve Nash, right? Steve Nash won 2 MVPs, 2, and he played in the Kobe. He won one of them over Kobe. Russ, Kyrie, who already has a big show, you might not like his antics away from basketball, but he's a top 5 talent. Man,
consider Dwayne Wade a point guard or not really?
Probably a 2, but I mean, even if he's not better than D Wade. I mean, I'll say this. I mean, I know people gonna get mad. Is CP3 better than Tony Parker? I'm just saying, like if you look at what Tony Parker did, so yeah, I respect what CP3 is doing. He shows that getting better over time for certain players just doesn't defy, they're not held back. But yeah, Kevin, like I said, it's just one of those things to where if you love CP3, definitely the greatest Wake Forest player of all time behind Tim Duncan. But if that's what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna end up going. I'm gonna go home, and my mama gonna call me and say, "Chris Paul ain't no top." But mama, it was just a question. No one. And the point guard position too, Kevin, has gotten like point guards usually just were distributors. They run the offense. They didn't have to score. But now, I'm just saying. People gonna get mad at this. Is CP3 better than Rajon Rondo? What Rajon did for that Celtics team? I'm just saying. We looking at the All-Stars and all that, right, Kevin? I get it. Like, I'm just saying, Rondo had to deal with, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, and so I don't know. For me, I like CP3. That's why I don't do comparisons, because you'll get down to, it's so-and-so top 20. You start naming off names. He ain't even top 20. If you get the name of them off, CP3 is a top 15, I can feel good about saying guard. Top 10, because some of these guards got MVPs. True. Isaiah Thomas is number 2 on my list behind Magic. Isaiah Thomas won in regular season MVP and finals MVP. This is CP3 first finals. We need to stop that, man. Come on, man.
Moving along, take 3. Obviously, we're coming off of the 4th of July holiday. Is President Whitmore's speech in Independence Day the greatest kind of pregame speech of all time? By pregame, obviously, they were going to fight the aliens. So he's like, "We will not go quietly
oh my God.
into the night. Today is our independence." That's a great lead up to the showdown with the aliens.
It is top 5. I give it top 5 as far as like getting you ready for what you're about to do. That's got to be his crowning moment, achievement of his career. Kevin, the guy that was playing, obviously the guy that was playing the president.
I think it's Bill Pullman. Yeah.
Yes, but for me, like, look, I know this. I love The Matrix. I love The Matrix Reloaded. There's a part in Matrix Reloaded to where they all, Morpheus, they just return home and they in the cave. And the guy comes and he says, there's a guy who I'm going to bring to you that hasn't spoken in this cave for many. He goes, "I give you Morpheus." And then they like scream, they're going crazy. And Morpheus like, "Quiet, hear me." And everybody just like, "Shh." And he was like, he said, "Is it true?" He said, "Yes, it is true that there's an army, machines headed, he said, headed to destroy us, our homes." He goes, "I remember that for 100 years. They have sent these armies to kill us." He said, "I remember that for 100 years. They are coming to defeat us." He says, "But I remember that which matters." He said, "But for 100 years, I remember that which matters most." He goes, "We are still here." And they go, I said, "Wait a minute. Just shut the movie down." You got to see it. But for me, I just think Morpheus' speech, and like you said, Kevin, the Al Pacino, I'm sorry. Any given Sunday, like, you got to scratch your claw for that. It's like, if you can't put yourself in the movie like you're one of those actors when they're saying it, it didn't hit. And for me, when he said "we are still here" in Al Pacino, and another one, Gridiron Gang, because of the significance, when the kid goes, "They're not that good. They're not better than us." And they started doing a little thing with their cleats or what may have you. But yeah, I don't want to take away from Independence Day because that speech was beautiful. But yeah, I gotta go. Matrix Reloaded, Morpheus, and obviously, the Gridiron Gang with the kid giving the speech. But yeah, the Independence Day speech, Kevin. Maybe it ain't better than Miracle either. I'm sorry, Mr. Kirk Russell. Great job, with the Miracle speech. But yeah, the Independence Day, it's up there.
Yeah, I like that one. I'll go with you, Kurt Russell, probably better because it was just so subdued. It's like, You are born to be hockey players. Well, let's go do it. And then just walk out.
What is that?
But, yeah, like
the great achievements are born.
Yeah,
I mean, when it's all quiet, it's like we say, it's like you watching it as a spectator, like, come on, man, what are you gonna say? And it's like, it just hit. I mean, Kurt Russell is anything but a coach. He's like, listen, you want me to do this? Okay. He was real subtle the whole time. I wanted the guy that wouldn't take the test.
I want the guy that didn't take the test. No, but I think the one Independence Day is awesome just because, like, hey, it's the world against the aliens, basically. He's like everybody's president at that point, getting them fired up. Then, of course, he's the leader of the free world they just let him. I know they needed everybody, but they just let him go get in the fighter jet. And he's going to be the guy that takes the first missile shot. Like, no. I'm the president. I get to fire the first one to make sure the shields are down.
Yeah, Fox 2.
Yeah.
I mean, look, there are certain movies and certain moments in movies that if you were a producer or a director, you said, this is what I would have, to me, there are perfect parts. And when you go, listen, as the president, like, where you going, Mr. President? I'm a pilot. I belong up there. What is the general going to say?
Yeah.
No, you can't go.
Yeah, yes, exactly. That's why he's there. You say, no, you're the president. We need you here. Besides, we have guys who are crop dusting that we're about to throw in $1 million, billion dollar planes.
Yeah, it's like this. I mean, what old boy said? Oh my, I picked the crazy day to stop drinking. Like, but now that speech was incredible because his was kind of subtle too, right? He like, can I have your attention? Like this, and then he just kind of get a little. It like builds like as he goes. Because basically he's saying you getting that. For those of you thinking you getting that fighter jet.
Yeah.
You going up there. For those of you thinking I'm finna run off, no. If I'm going up there, you're going up there. But yeah, great speech, great movie, great timing. That is the highlight of his career.
It is a good 4th of July movie, obviously, with Independence Day. We've got more to come here on 3 Hours. Speaking of Independence Day, it is an annual reminder of one of the all-time greats to ever go out and compete at his craft. We'll get to that next. It's 3 and Out on the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Good to have you here, 3 and Out on this Monday. Kevin Thomas, Ben Troop here with you. Glad you're with us. Hit us up on Twitter at Pigskin Radio. Of course, July 4th, yesterday, fireworks, swimming pools, hot dogs, hamburgers, steaks, all the good stuff there. And, of course, it wouldn't be a 4th of July without the real GOAT, Joey Jaws Chestnut. Was that 14 Nathan's world-famous hot dog eating contest titles that he has won? And he broke his own record, Ben, 76 dogs in 10 minutes. Like, and this is what's kind of fascinating and disgusting all at the same time. It's like, how much more can you cram in there? Like at this point, like, people talk about, hey, you got the 4-minute mile. Like, once you break that, like, are people going to be able to break the 4-minute mile? Because it's like, and the 100 meters, like, now you're talking about hundredths of a second. Maybe you're trimming off time, but like, how many physical more dogs can somebody cram in their pie hole before, like, Joey Chestnut? 76, and it's not even close. He's the great, like, nobody's even in the same strike. He had 26 more than the next closest competitor. 76, unbelievable.
Well, number one, okay, like, Joey Chestnut is in a class all of his own. 14 years in a row, he's breaking his own records. I mean, we was talking about in the show, right, Kevin? I mean, if you ate, if we just had a hot dog eating contest together in his office, how long would it take for somebody to start going, it's rough? 76. This is what makes that feat incredible. It's not the 76 hot dogs. It's the 76 buns. Because you got to eat the whole bun, too. And I'm like, dude, they're dipping. To prepare oneself to eat wet bread, you got to be I don't care.
You're just into it.
Exactly. And the thing is, like, and I think too, like, and then it's like they interview you, right? Hey, Joey, how does it feel, man? I'm like, dude, all we got is,
dude,
like,
if that was, Ben, I'm not gonna lie. If that was me and I had just shoved I shoved 76 dogs down my pie hole, they'd be like, how do you feel? Like, go away.
Go, yeah. Like,
no, I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah. It's like, it's
I feel bad.
Food comas are not, when you just physically sick because somebody's like, Kevin, your eyes got too, but no, I ate 76 hot dogs. Like, and I guarantee you this. And Kevin, you was talking about Joey Chestnut eats hot dogs once a year. I guarantee you he don't eat hot dogs for 364 days out of the year. Like,
why would you?
Exactly. It's almost like, and I understand he's one of the greatest, if not the greatest competitive eater of all time. I don't think I've eaten 76 hot dogs this year. Like, I mean, he's ate 76 hot dogs. And this is the crazy part. Everybody else lost. So the guy that was 26 hot dogs behind him, go. Sorry, man. How many? Yeah. You got the 50.
Congrats, bro. You ate 50. What do I get? Here's a gift certificate.
Here's a gift certificate. Great job. What did he get?
He got some Nathan's hot dogs.
And the guys that's counting them, I'm like, listen, look, Joey Chestnut, he the man. He knows he's the man. I know that. I mean, you don't even hear about Kobayashi anymore. And Kobayashi got like a 12-pack. He don't even look like he was a competitive eater. But yeah, Coney Island, when I lived in Jersey, back in 2013, I took my daughter to Coney Island on the 3rd. I wasn't messing. And the thing is, too, you would think that the day before it would be like a lot of people. It's really not. Now, they said come the 4th, it gets crazy, but I'm not going to watch people eat wet bread. But I will say, we were talking about sports announcers, Kevin. The guy that does the announcing, you notice, like, he has like a little skit for everybody that comes out. And that's very, very impressive to, be able to memorize that stuff. And obviously Joey Chestnut is like, give it up for the GOAT, the greatest ever. But yeah, 76 hot dogs, Joey Jaws Chestnut, you the man. I think he's from he's from the Bay out there in, California. But no, 76 hot dogs. I couldn't eat 76 hot dogs with no bun. But I definitely couldn't eat them with the bun. And the fact that I got to dip them in bread, I cannot.
Yeah, that's gross. I mean, I would say that's the thing people are talking about. Like, hey, how many could you eat? Like, I don't think I could eat 76 hot dogs. If you said, who cares about the bun? Just eat the hot dogs. I don't think I could come anywhere close to eating that many. But he is a competitor amongst competitors. I mean, think about this. In the last probably at least 10 years, nobody's come within even 15 or 20 of tying him for this thing. He's just like, I'm saying, like, if you're Joey Chestnut, you're just like, no. Think about this. If I was Joey Chestnut and I scouted the competition, I'd be like, go up to the number 2 guy. How many think you can get? Think you get 50? All right, I'm going to try to get 51. And just pace yourself to try to keep it as close as possible. But, I mean, that's, think about this. At what point are you just like, I don't want to do it? Like I'm too good.
It's like,
and I don't want to do it.
Joey Chestnut was Joey Chestnut pre-social media, so he was already a big name. And now with the following, and think I like the guys they announced. Oh, a guy that ate, I got to ate 25 catfish sandwiches in like 1 minute. That's how he like, I think it's crazy what they did to get into these tournaments. But Kevin, think of this: you're not gonna beat him. He's like the Jacob deGrom.
But Jacob deGrom was beaten. Like, how do you? Who do you compare him to? And in terms of like competitiveness, where it's like you think you're good at something, but you're not even in the stratosphere. Like I would say, like Tiger Woods, Venus, Serena Williams, like when they came out, like they were good, but people could at least compete with them.
Yeah,
like this is not even like he is competing against himself and how much he can cram in his face in 10 minutes. That is it.
Simone Biles,
Biles, yeah.
Because the thing is, Kevin, like you said, it's almost like this. We're psyching ourselves out if we're not Joey Chestnut. We're not our greatest hot dog eating ever. He's 20 ahead of us.
Yeah.
And we all started at the same time. At what point did he go from a 30? He's at 40. What? He's at 45. Like, so he got the same amount of time and ate 26 more hot. And when they go, stop, I'm like, I got 3 hot dogs in my mouth. I got to go, and I still lost. I'm not doing Joey Chestnut. Look, Kevin, listen, he's a competitive eater. He's the man. He knows he's the man. When he walks in, everybody can't eat literally until he,
Sure, but no. Pull the show. Hit us up on Twitter at Pigskin Radio. I'd love to hear from you. How many hot dogs could a human stomach physically fit in it? Like, he obviously trains for this, and he keeps upping the ante. Like, are we going to see the day where somebody's like, I'm the next Joey Chestnut, and they're going to show up and cram 90 dogs in their face for 10 minutes? Like, is that possible? Do you think that's possible? Are we at peak hot dog consumption right now? Is this as good as it gets?
Yeah, it is. Well, when we want to see anything more than that, like if somebody goes, man, remember back when Joey had 76, the dude just did like 98 the other day. That's what that's to me. There are certain things. Like, think about it.
Can you physically like I know, like, hey, we're always striving, but like things have their limit. Like, are we gonna see a dude like eat? It's like, dude, he ripped his stomach. He did what? Like it couldn't hold anymore, and he got a tear in it.
I'm just saying, like that's one of those things you go, yeah, man, I ate 76 hot dogs. Like, why? Like, I was in the and he's doing this.
Joey Chestnut with all the out, with all lacerated stomach.
76. Like I said, I don't think I ate like 3 or 4 hot dogs, yesterday, and my stomach was like, it's all right. Now you're gonna have to drive later. Keep on. You better hope you ain't in traffic. But no, 76 hot dogs, Kevin. I'm just certain things. It's almost like,
do you think 80 is possible?
Even though you can't do this, 76 hot dogs will be equivalent to like drinking 2 gallons of milk. Because you can't drink a gallon of milk, right? Like, I drank 2 gallons. How did you do that? Well,
well, apparently they did a lemonade chug right before this, and like dudes were drinking like 2 gallons of lemonade. Like, what? Why would you do that?
See, listen,
no bathroom breaks.
At the end of the day, he's a competitive eater. There are competitive eaters, and there's Joey Chestnut. The fact that like people talk about him like he's a folk hero, like he's this mythical character. No,
he is, because nobody can do this.
It's like people go, man, one day I'm gonna be you. And I like how you got the big dudes that walk out there like, oh, he gonna Joey like this.
No, like it's like there's a science to it. Obviously, you got to work out and be in shape to be able to keep the pace of cramming the food in your mouth. But like, I'm just wondering, like, what is the physical limits we could without having like a second stomach grafted into your body? Like, how much food can a human stomach hold before you're just like, look, you're awesome. Now you're at 9 minutes and you still have a minute left, but you physically cannot push anything else in there. Like, it will not hold anymore.
What's the show they used to have? Like, there's a stat show. It don't come on no more. They'll say like, this guy, if the ball would have been this much, the
sports science
dude wants to come out and he goes, well, Joey Chestnut's stomach can do something that no other stomach can do. It has to, because the stomach can only expand so much, right? Like it only can take so much to like it's
like I would imagine it's like a balloon. Like, you can only stretch it so far.
Like they'll say, as you can see, what he just did with his throat, he I can, man, he's like a what is he, a boa constrictor? He could just widen it, man. I don't know how Joey Chestnut does it, but
Maybe
next
that's
year,
the
Kevin,
next
he's gonna have to
generation.
get 7. Like if Joey Chestnut did 60, they're like, fell off.
Yeah.
Just
Well, I mean,
77.
what happens like one year he comes out, is like, oh, I only did 60. I still won by 10, but
He has to do at least 7. He has to do at least 80 next year.
Like I really would. I think that's what I would like if he goes to fit. Like if he doesn't think he can get 80, like I would rather him just like post to 60 in like 7 minutes and then just stand there for 3 minutes. Like, come on, guys, let's see what you got. Like you're not going to beat me. It's physically impossible. We got more to come here on 3 and Out. We'll come back. Braves are being tough to beat here as of recent. What can they physically do heading into the All-Star break and at the trade deadline to make themselves more of a competitor? Gaurav Vidak will join us when we come back from Talking Chop on 3 and Out on the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Braves and Pirates coming up tonight. Is 6 more games to go until the All-Star break for Atlanta. Of course, we'll see Acuna and Freddie Freeman as starters. Ozzie Albies got named as a reserve for the All-Star game coming up in Denver next week. But where do the Braves stand on the backside of this All-Star break and heading towards the trade deadline? Our next guest from Talking Chop, Gaurav Vidak, here to help us answer some of those questions. Gaurav, thanks for joining us. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks so much for having me on.
Hey, man, we appreciate you coming on. The Braves have the Pirates and the Marlins here before the All-Star break. Obviously, a very favorable schedule, chance to finish strong and stay close to the Mets. But what do you see the Braves doing on the flip side coming out of this thing in terms of roster personnel? Who do they have getting healthy to kind of give them a boost here?
You know, it really, for this team, it seems to have to come down to, when it comes to the trade deadline, you got to acquire a bat of some caliber. Like the contributions that someone like a Guillermo Heredia and Almonte have had to the team, but you're seeking that regularity. You're going to look for that big bat. I would love, of course, none other than adding someone of the caliber of someone like Joey Gallo to roam the left field. You know, that's a primo bat with a major impact. You assume that they're going to be at least one or two small trades to really shore up the back end of that pen. It seems like they've really found the roles for some of these players, like Luke Jackson. He seems to be settling in quite nicely. Chris Martin, a couple of appearances, getting things together. I'd love for the Braves to go after at least one big bat to really impact this lineup and lengthen it just a bit, because you're kind of up heavy, and then go after one or two arms to really bridge the gap between starter, which seems to be doing quite well with Drew Smiley coming in and pitching very well the past few outings, to that closer spot where, while the numbers have been a bit rocky for Will Smith, his overall numbers have been absolutely fantastic. So finding ways to shorten that game and get some more offense are probably the biggest factors at play.
And what would you give this Braves team thus far? Obviously, as Kevin mentioned, 6 games until the All-Star break, but the Marcell Ozuna situation, the Mike Soroka situation, the Huascar Noah, a situation, the bullpen not really living up to what you thought it would be. The starting pitching has kind of been all over the place. Yet they find themselves 3.5 games out, getting ready for the Pirates. What grade would you give this Braves team dealing with all the adversity to still find themselves in it? With 6 games before the All-Star break.
In terms of how they face the adversity, you have to give them an A. Undergoing something like what you've seen with Ozuna and losing someone of Soroka's stature for who really knows how long are huge holes, and how they've responded to it with people that they brought up has been fantastic. The overall grade for me, when I was on your show for the first time, I said this roster is too talented. So overall, I probably put it right around a C. But when you talk about how they've dealt with adversity, it's hard not to just give them that A, because again, they've had to overcome some really big circumstances. And like you said, to be this far out of first place with a very, very favorable last 2 series heading into the All-Star break is kind of crazy to think. Maybe the Braves are able to really weather the storm, and right before the All-Star break, you see them tied or in first place, and hopefully, that kind of motivates them and really propels them in that second half where they can really play to their potential and take over this NL East.
Gaurav, what do they have in terms of tradable pieces? I know everybody says, well, just go out and get this guy without having to, think about what you're willing to give up. What do the Braves have that would be of value in a realistic trade scenario?
Yeah, that's definitely the $1 million question. In terms of prospects, you don't see high-level prospects traded too much, and if they were to, you'd have to start at none other than a Christian Pache or Drew Waters, really. And Drew Waters, neither of their trade value is really too high. You might of these lower end options off the existing roster right now to really fill some holes for other teams. It's going to have to be a very, very overwhelmingly prospect laden trade for anything to really happen, and that's why you don't really our team names show up. But to put some names out there, I would have to say any kind of trade that you see heading into the deadline is going to have to be someone like a Pache, like a Drew Waters to find their home and really take off for another team. so the Braves can so the Braves can really shore up some holes on their team.
And regardless of who this Brave teams get back, from injury, Huascar Ynoa, if he does come back from injury, does this Brave team, as put together right now, have what it takes to win this NL East again? Because I don't think that it's going to be anybody coming out of the NL East from a wild card. Do you think they got what it takes to catch the Mets and potentially, hoist up an NL East championship, for a fourth year in a row?
Absolutely. There's not a single doubt in my mind. And that's maybe more so on the depth of the NL East and how weak it is. But as of right now, there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that the Braves can not only take over the NL East, but win it by a pretty sizable margin. The best team on there is going to be right now is the Mets, and offensively, they really don't have that many options, especially with Lindor not doing as well as they'd hope. He's starting to come along, but not doing as well as they hope. It's in the Braves' corner. They have all the leverage. If they really click, I can see them really taking this division by the stronghold and taking over and really cruising into another division title.
Gaurav Vidoc, Talking Chop, joining us here on 3 and Out, and that is, I guess, plays into the mindset that they've underachieved here from a talent standpoint. Obviously, Marcell Ozuna, I don't think anybody expects him back. The catching standpoint kind of is what it is. What are the Braves banking on in terms of making moves that maybe they weren't expecting to have to make because of injuries, off the field stuff, and not mortgaging the future for the here and now necessarily?
You have to look at the offense, right? The arms, there's enough options in the minors where they're going to be creative. I see some really aggressive promotions. I'm sorry?
No, go ahead.
Oh, one that's astronomical. That's something that I've been thinking about is someone like a Spencer Strider, who was drafted in 2019, who is absolutely taking over minor league baseball. There's a possibility that he comes in on the bullpen at the end of the season. In terms of trade, you have to go after a bat. You have to go after an everyday left fielder. You cannot continue to put out an outfield filled with Almonte Ender. You have to get Acuna some help out there. So I would assume that the Braves will be very aggressive in trying to find a new big bat that really sits out there in left field and kind of going away from Ozuna here on out. I think most likely his tenure in Atlanta is over. So really finding someone to plug that hole and be there for multiple years. So I assume the Braves are going to try and be creative, maybe not get the premier bat, but get someone that is under team control or under contract for a couple more years to fill in that gap in left.
Ronald Acuna Jr. just continues to just do things in baseball that, most people have seldomly seen. I mean, how good, obviously we know how, good of a player he is, but did you see him being this good, this fast? I mean, I remember when he, came up to the bigs, 3 years ago, everybody was saying how great of a player he could be. And, you had to wait to see how great is this guy? And I mean, obviously if we can keep the Marlins from throwing at him, I mean, the guy seems not having too many flaws to his game.
He really doesn't, and it goes back really to the first time I ever saw him back when he was in Rome. His batting practice was different from anything I've ever experienced. It's the sound off the bat all the way back then where you knew that this guy was going to be legit offensively. And then that off season, he really honed in his eye at the plate over in Australia, and I saw him start to really adjust and hit the breaking ball a lot better. And, it was actually that season, I want to say back in 2016, 2017, where if you talk to all the guys on the Talking Chop crew back then, we kind of knew that he was going to be this premier talent. Now, fighting for, potentially top 3 in Major League Baseball this early in his career, yeah, you don't expect that, but it doesn't surprise me one bit. Those tools have been loud ever since the beginning. He's a treasure, and he's someone that Braves fans really need to just watch and enjoy, because it doesn't happen very often. It doesn't happen in baseball very often. So he's someone that's he's worth the price of admission alone, and he's been that way for his entire career. And I look forward to really watching him continue to develop.
Gaurav Vidoc, Talking Chop, joining us here on 3 and Out. And Gaurav, along that line, obviously Ronald Acuna having one of the great seasons. Freddie Freeman starting to come along as well. I have to imagine one of the talking points among Braves country in the second half will be, will the Braves give Freddie Freeman a contract extension? Is that first and forefront of the Braves front office? Are they trying to do that? Are they trying to win here and now? Or are they really thinking about their first baseman and whether or not he's in the long-term plans at this point? I mean, how rapidly, I guess, do they want to try to get on that?
I think the Braves have to. When you look at the other options right now, especially in the minor league, the Braves don't really have a premier option. The biggest name is Bryce Ball, and he's all the way down in high A Rome. So retaining Freddie has got to be the absolute biggest thing that the Braves are focusing on. You can't replace an MVP with, going from an MVP to a much lesser caliber player. So it's of high importance. The Braves have to get it done because without him, the entire lineup takes a massive step backwards. And like I said, there's no one really available in the minor leagues to take that and come close to his kind of production, especially as soon as next year. So it's got to be the most important thing heading off into this offseason.
If the Braves can find a way, after the All-Star break, to find a way to win the National League East with everything that's going on this season, I know that Snit got a contract extension before the season. He's got to be up for Manager of the Year with everything that's going on this season, especially when most teams don't have to worry about one of their aces, in the pitching staff not being there all year.
You win, and he's got to be in consideration, right? No matter what. Everyone has their comments on Snitker and how he approaches the game, but if he's able to get this team together with this many injuries, with this many off the field, kind of issues plaguing them, and take home the NL East, if not the winner, he's got to face top 3 in that kind of voting. It's not an easy job. I would never want to be a baseball manager because that's a lot of big egos that you have to deal with. So if he's able to really corral them and propel this team to another division, I think he deserves that kind of respect.
Gaurav Vidak, Talking Chop, our guest here on 3 and Out. Gaurav, really appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much for having me on.
Appreciate it. And the Braves have the Pirates for 3 and then the Marlins for 3. And then it's the All-Star break. Catch your breath and jump right back into trade deadline talk. And Ben, obviously, Freddie Freeman contract extension. I think that's something a lot of people are wondering why it's not done now for the Atlanta Braves, but why you're not locking up your first baseman to a longer-term contract.
It's going to be a lot of money. I mean, Kevin, when you look at the type of money guys have been getting around the league, and I know that Freddie Free, I think he's 30 or 31 now. That's a difference in baseball. Baseball, don't you start hitting your peak when you in your late 20s, early 30s, and he's coming off MVP season. He's definitely starting to find his way again. But yeah, I think too, Kevin, why make it wait? I know the Braves aren't into doing the breaking news $250 million, which I hope it don't take that much to re-sign Freddie Free, but he's more than earned the money. He was the face of this franchise when they weren't winning any games. He stood the test of time, finally got that MVP. Now the new thing is 2 things. Is he a Hall of Famer? Can he win it all? And obviously, Mrs. Freeman, she's trying to get to them ducats. So she could care less. So we'll see. He's definitely earned it. Hopefully they can get it done sooner rather than later.
We've got more to come. We'll have Braves for you coming up in about 1 hour from right now. It is 3 and Out all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Good Monday, Kevin and Ben here with you all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Braves and Pirates coming up for you a little bit later, a little bit less than an hour from right now. But we'll look at some big signings on the NFL front. Trevor Lawrence, now a paid Jacksonville Jaguar. Also, some fresh faces going to be at next week's All-Star game. Kind of a turning tide of the faces of the game. We'll get to that. And, of course, get you ready for Braves Pirates. But, Ben, on this date, 1975, Arthur Ashe becomes the first black man to win Wimbledon. I believe center court there at Wimbledon is named Arthur Ashe Stadium. So, if I'm not mistaken,
I think
am I
you're
wrong,
right.
or am
No,
I
I
thinking of New
think
York?
you are right. I think you are right. I mean, Arthur Ashe, his contribution to the game. I mean, breaking the color barrier and different things. I mean, you look at Sloane Stevens. You look at, obviously, you can't say enough about Venus and Serena and what they've been able to do. With the sport. I mean, Naomi Osaka, and I just think this. Most often the times, what makes his contribution the best is being that dude.
Lo and behold, don't tell BJ, but I was wrong. Arthur Ashe Stadium is for the U.S. Tennis Open.
Okay.
In New York. I knew one of them was, but I wasn't sure if it was Wimbledon or not. But yeah, Arthur Ashe, obviously a legend, and certainly with that historic milestone. This date in 1975. Continue, Ben. I'm sorry. I just wanted to put out there if I was wrong.
No. I'm just.
It happens once
I'm like
every
you. And
so
listen,
often.
I mean, it's one of those things to where I would have went ready. BJ would have told us in the break. It wasn't Wimbledon, right? We know BJ. You are the statistician. You are the stats guy. But no, his contribution just to the game itself, bigger than just what he did on the court and what he did for players of color. All around the sport. Both here and abroad. But yeah, man, Arthur Ashe, he's the guy. I mean, growing up, I was on the tennis team in high school. I was not like Arthur Ashe. I did it for agility. Back when I did get a serve, and I'd be like, Arthur Ashe, and then my coach was like, don't. He said, well, number one, stop disrespecting Arthur Ashe like that. But number two, no, certain guys that just meant more to the sport than the sport itself. Arthur Ashe is one of those guys. I mean, hey man, breaking the color barrier and what he had to endure and still became the player he became. I respect to that man.
Absolutely. And again, so a little this date in history. We've got much more to come here on 3 and Out, final hour of the show. Look at the All-Star game coming up next week in Denver and just some of the changing faces of the game. Not that long ago, it was, the Derek Jeters, the A-Rods, the Chipper Jones. So I've got a lot of young stars going to be at the All-Star game this week. Also, Trevor Lawrence. Nice new deal there with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And as we said, we'll get you ready for the Braves and Pirates 3-gamer. And then off day Thursday, and then a 3-gamer heading into the All-Star break with the Marlins. We'll see if Acuna gets hit in any of those games heading into the All-Star break. Final hour around the corner. It's 3 and Out, Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Final hour of 3 and Out all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Kevin Thomas, Ben Troop, glad you are with us. Plenty to get to here on the show. Trevor Lawrence, big deal. Finally gets done there with the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're leading up towards Braves and Pirates tonight, as well as they start a 3-game set for an off day Thursday, then a final 3 games with the Marlins before we head into the All-Star break, which, of course, folks in Atlanta well know is going to be in Denver, not Atlanta this year. But Ben, what we're seeing is the kind of the changing face of MLB. It wasn't all that long ago. It was the Chipper Joneses. It was, the Derek Jeters, the Alex Rodriguez. You'd see them every single year. Now you're seeing the Bo Bichette's, the young guys coming in. Ronald Acuna, Fernando Tatis, getting into the All-Star game. Shohei Ohtani, a two-way guy, first guy to get in as a position player and as a pitcher into the All-Star game. Truly unbelievable. How that's coming about with just kind of the changing face of Major League Baseball as we move forward here into the 2020s.
It shows that baseball is definitely doing its job of, when you're talking about being able to grow the game beyond America, Kevin, and you look at Tatis, you look at Acuna, you look at Ohtani. These guys are not just good; they're great. I mean, Tatis was hurt. And he's still putting up big numbers since he came back, came back from his injury. I mean, Acuna, since he came into the majors, have been lights out. Ohtani, what can't he do at this point? The first player ever, Kevin, to be voted to the All-Star game as a pitcher and as a position player. But I think baseball is doing a good job of being able to, because with those guys come their fan bases from where they from. So I do think that we don't mind it because he's in major markets, San Diego, LA, Atlanta. And you still got the Bryce Harpers of the world. You still got the Mike Trouts of the world. You still got the Groms of the world. So you still got other players that, but as far as like I always say, where is baseball going? I think it's headed in the right direction. I think it's headed in an incredible direction because you got guys that's doing it at a high level. Tatis, I thought to be a shortstop, you had to be like, 5'10", 5'9". He's like 6'4", playing the shortstop position. So he's showing that even tall guys can get out there, which I don't know if he could be the standard because Tatis is he's an incredible player. But yeah, I think if you baseball, you love the direction of baseball right now because these guys are doing it, getting it done day in and day out, night in and night out. What Ohtani is doing, my goodness. We talking about Acuna got a chance to have 50 homers. Ohtani leads the majors in home runs right now, and he's a pitcher in Tatis. He makes you don't blink when he's at the plate. This guy's instant. He's instant offense as well. But yeah, I like the direction of baseball, and it kind of shows, Kevin, that these guys coming to their own rather quickly. I used to be a time to wait. It took you 5-6 years for people to even know who you were. No, you know who these guys are, 2-3 years into the majors. But yeah, shout out to baseball, man, for making sure they cater, to players, not from America, but at the same time, growing the game in America. I think these guys help it.
Well, I'm saying, I know a lot of people like to sound off about the death of baseball and how it's going down the primrose path, so to speak. But you look at the stars that are out there. You have Ronald Acuna, under 25, generational talent, really doing some amazing things. Shohei Ohtani, I don't know if people appreciate this. Maybe they do, and we may not fully because we don't get to see it every night because we're on the East Coast. But this dude is a starting pitcher at an all-star level. All right, normally that's enough, and teams are like, no, we don't want you to do anything else. You're a stud. But he's also an all-star as a hitter and a positional player. That is truly unbelievable. I think he's the first player to do that as a two-way player, pitcher and positional player, to be in the all-star game. And, man, when you have something like that that is coming through your league, that is to be celebrated. And Shohei Ohtani is must-watch baseball. Fernando Tatis, must-watch baseball. He's the guy that plays the game with flair. And I do think this age of baseball player, Ben, is we see it from time to time, but this age in particular are like, yeah, they get some of the rules, the unspoken rules, the unwritten rules of baseball, but they're going to do it their way as well. Acuna, Tatis, they're going to play with a little flair. Juan Soto, they're going to do it in a way that they believe respects the game and also has a little style, a little flair to it, where they can have fun going out there doing it. It's not style. So I think for baseball, this is a good thing to showcase when you get to the All-Star games. Look at these guys that are going out there and you say, man, these guys are doing it for the paycheck, sure, but they're also doing it to have fun and go out and celebrate while they're out there in the first place. and you see these guys at the All-Star game coming up next week, soak it in, because you see some of these guys doing things that, as you said, Ben, you don't see 21, 22-year-old guys doing. Like, that's just abnormal. And you've got 5, 6, 7 guys out there doing it. Legacy players, Bo Bichette, Fernando Tatis, who had dads playing in the league, who are now doing it at an all-star level.
With Guerrero Jr., I think he's doing it.
Vlad Jr., yeah, exactly. I mean, you have guys that are out there doing historic things, sons of legendary baseball players who are doing it at a high level. That does not always happen. That's not always the case. Where son may make it to the big leagues, but maybe they're not as good as dad was. There's something, that's just part of it. But man, what a time to celebrate the sport if you're Major League Baseball, and look at the youthful exuberance, kind of the passing of the torch to some of these guys that, again, Acuna, Tatis, Bichette, Vlad Jr. I mean, these are guys, if they stay healthy, you're talking 10, 12, 13 more years of peak from these guys that are going to be around a long time.
Yeah, and Kevin, look, Tatis, Vlad Jr., Acuna, Ron Soto, these guys, we are talking about the exceptions to the rule. Like, meaning, I know that certain baseball truists might not like. I mean, Ronald Acuna, he got a full celebration when he hits home runs now. I mean, across his chest, he does a little, he does. I mean, there's bat flips, and then there's Ronald Acuna bat flips. I mean, wow. But Kevin, a player is good when even baseball truists don't mind, because it's like, dude, he's that good of a player. It's almost like, I don't want to. Now, if you're just a player in the majors, don't do that stuff, because you're not you're not good enough. Well, Ronald Acuna does it, so he's one to face Tatis. So Tatis is throwing, he's doing double plays, doing full splits at second base, doing these things. But yeah, baseball, Kevin, I mean, when you got great players, it used to be, man, you may have 1 or 2, 6 or 7 guys that ain't even been in the majors that long are already proving themselves to want to be faces, because it's one thing to be a face, another thing to want to be. Mike Trout is saying, whew, like, yeah, Mike Trout by most people will still be considered the best player in baseball, but he got some, it ain't as lonely at the top now. And I just wish that Mike Trout could get a chance to play in the playoffs more, because I think it will help his legacy. But yeah, Kevin, I mean, Vlad, like I said, Vlad Jr., some of these guys are walking in their father's footsteps. I mean, Vlad Jr., he do just like his dad, man. No gloves sometimes, big dude, man. I just like what I'm seeing from baseball right now. And you're right. For those who said baseball was a dying sport, yeah, well, you might want to look again, because you got some players that ain't even hit their prime yet that's already doing things that, Ronald Acuna Jr. really said, I might try to go for the 50-50 club. Don't think he's going to get 40 stolen bases, but man, I'm happy that out of all these faces, the Braves got one of them.
Absolutely. And again, I think he's going to be around for a long, long time. And again, I think the problem for baseball is you look at two of the more interesting players, exciting players that everybody talks about in Major League Baseball. Shohei Ohtani, who's doing unbelievable things, and Mike Trout. And Mike Trout's injured, but 9 games out of first place. That's tough when you have a team with that much talent and they are not in it. So to speak, in the standings, Ben, that is tough. I mean, that would be the equivalent of having, I'm trying to guess, I mean, Tom Brady's already got the rings, but I'm trying to think of a comparison.
Phillip Rivers.
Basically, Phillip Rivers and Lamar Jackson and all that, all on the same team. And it's like, not only are you not close, like you're the best player, but you're not close to getting to the postseason. So yeah, it'd be like having, Lamar Jackson and a couple of good wide receivers on there, and they're like, they're like 3 and 12, and you're like, what is going on?
Yeah.
What is happening? You guys are not there at the end of the day. But yeah, baseball, I think next week going to be a time to celebrate kind of the turning of the page, I think, in baseball, to some of these new young stars who are going to be there for, I would say, conservatively, another decade, hanging out there in the All-Star weekend. Get used to seeing some of these guys and some of the things that they can do out there on the baseball field. Is truly, truly magical. We got so much to get to here in the final hour, Ben, as we lead you up towards the Braves and the Pirates. A new day in Jacksonville officially. Trevor Lawrence has signed his deal. What does that mean? We'll talk about that, along with some of these rookie deals. Kyle Pitts last week got his deal. We'll discuss that next. It's 3 and Out all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network, streaming live at ESPNCoastal.com. It's a shame, Ben, that BJ's not here today on this Monday. Had a great time, 4th of July, not here, but I mean, Trevor Lawrence inked on the dotted line. 4 years, $36.8 million contract, including a $24.1 million guarantee. And then, of course, that 5th-year option. His signing bonus will be paid within 15 days. So that signing bonus is coming to him. And a quarterback is deemed to have passed his physical for signing bonus purposes. He can get the full amount of guaranteed money, even if he were to be released or signed with another team. And a lot of the money that Trevor Lawrence is going to get, Ben, going to come through a roster bonus, which, as you know, pretty much means, are you on the team? If you are, here's some money. So Jags obviously trying to work a deal here to make sure Trevor Lawrence is taken care of, obviously under his rookie deal, but potentially setting him up, obviously, I guess, for life after that, if he works out to get him set up to go for a long-term deal with the Jags.
Yeah, and the one thing is when it comes to they have that they have a 5th-year option that they're doing. They do plan on picking it up. That gives them more time to kind of like put together these long-term deals. And you got, the franchise tag years 6 and 7. So potentially they got Trevor Lawrence for the next 7 years, as far as like having rights to him. But yeah, the roster bonus is something that most teams are starting to do now more because, number one, I want to go through a full season. I want to be able to make sure, be able to see you from year to year, and I want to be able to make sure that it's not hurting my cap as much. I don't mind giving you the money in the off season before mandatory mini camp start. But yeah, I mean, being able to get, getting his sign-up bonus in 15 days, 4 years, 36.8 mil, 24.1 million guaranteed money. I think the one thing that had to be said when I was getting ready to transition out of the NFL was a rookie salary cap had to be put in place with these. I think Sam Bradford, if I'm not mistaken, was the last one to get these ridiculous deals, being the number 1 overall pick. But you start really like hurting the rest of your franchise. You saw what just happened with Julio Jones, the $17 million that he was owed. That's what they just paid their entire draft class with. So yeah, shout out to Jacksonville for doing it the right way. I mean, because at the end, you know what it shows you? It doesn't matter how you give it to me. Just find a way to give it to me. And you're only going to get it in the offseason. Fine. But before I sign it, I am getting it, right? Yes. Okay. So that's the Jags just doing it the right way. You know that he was going to get, right around $37 million. And that number keep going up. So next year, the number 1 overall pick could get like, $37 million or 37.1 overall. But yeah, they got it done. I think he might be the last rookie. Might be a couple other rookies still got to sign their deal, but BJ, they got their man. I know he's somewhere listening. Hopefully, feeling better. Hopefully, be back on the show tomorrow. But yeah, they got their guy. Yes, Kevin. The roster bonus thing is new to me because when I was there, guys did want to get their money like in the off season because certain teams, what people don't know, certain teams get paid every week. Certain teams get paid every 2 weeks. With the Titans, you got paid every 2 weeks. Now, for some people say, "Oh man, you only getting a check." I said, "Yeah, but." Some of us, that's the only way we survived in the offseason because they ain't give us all our money at once. Trust me. People spend that money up. I'm not counting Trevor Lawrence money, but congratulations to that man. With that potential 5th-year option, them boys getting that cheese. 24.1 million guaranteed. Woo.
And here's where you say, well, what's the difference? Trevor Lawrence, number 1, got $36.8 million. Kyle Pitts at number 4 got $32.9. So about $4 million difference, give or take. But Kyle Pitts fully guaranteed. Trevor Lawrence's is not. Why wouldn't the Jags do that?
I think what the Jags are doing, he's probably going to cost. They probably thinking that he's probably not going to make it through that entire deal, so they'll give him 24.1 guaranteed, and they'll probably one of them winks, Kevin, to be like, all right, if you start balling out of control, we won't make you have to go to that 5th-year option. Like right now, Baker Mayfield, I think, is going into year 5, and I think they haven't. They obviously picked up his 5th-year deal, and those 5th-year deals for a first one overall pick would probably be they're right, 30-40 million. So what he got in guaranteed money could be what he make in 1 year with that 5th-year option. But yeah, the Jags are just doing it the right way. They're saying, look, we're giving you your money, right? We don't want to hamstring our organization moving forward because the one thing you guys saw this offseason was the guys that was getting big deals was only signing 3-year deals. They weren't signing 4 and 5, which once again, I be saying, I don't want to, I want to be here with y'all 5 years. Give me 3 years, give me my money so I can get them up out of here. But that's just the Jags being smart. But yeah, $32.9 million. I know it's less, but $32.9 million guaranteed. Highest drafted tight end in history. These boys getting that cheese these days. And shout out to both Kyle Pitts and Trevor Lawrence.
And Ben, that's kind of the way you have to go about it now, as you said, because if you're the Jags and you're trying to rebuild your franchise, obviously you don't want to run into a situation like Atlanta did, where it's like, hey, we have multiple superstars. We gave them all the money they asked for, more or less. And now we got to get rid of one of them because we can't afford to get our rookie class if we don't. And I think obviously if you're Jacksonville, you don't want to be in that position where it's like, hey, it's our quarterback or somebody else. Well, we know who wins in those discussions, right? The quarterback 9 times out of 10 isn't going anywhere because teams will fight you to keep the guy they have in hand that they know can play. But, Trevor Lawrence, I mean, obviously you got to come in and prove you're the man at this point. I'm one that was glad they did a rookie cap bin back when, because, Sam Bradford coming in, getting more money than any quarterback in the league, and he'd never taken a snap. Like, come on, man. Let me give that money to a guy who's proven it versus a guy who's just walking in. But, Trevor Lawrence is coming in, guaranteed money. He's not going anywhere, but he is, rightly or wrongly, the face of the franchise right now. Like, he's now signed a deal. You're the man. We're either going to sink or we're going to swim, but it's going to be with you doing it. So I'm interested to see how this works out for Jacksonville. I know a lot of people have a lot of faith in what Trevor Lawrence can do out there. I think now it's just time to let the rubber meet the road a little bit and see, okay, at Clemson, you're probably just more talented than the team you played 80% of the time, right? I mean, just 80, maybe even more than that. Maybe 85, 90% of the time you went out on the field, your team was just flat better. Just going to have more talent, just flat better. Now it's at least even at best. And maybe you're not the best team in the league. So I'm interested to see how he does that when, look, the talent is spread out and it's even, and the other guys on the other side, probably just as good. Now, did he win some games like that in college? Absolutely. But this is every single week. You got to go out there and do it, maybe sometimes with a little less talent than the other guys on the other side.
Yeah, and when you're the number 1 overall pick, even if you don't know about the NFL draft, you knew who the number 1 pick was. We knew who that Trevor Lawrence was going to be. We knew that Trevor Lawrence was going to be the number 1 pick no matter when he came out. I mean, people started saying if he was able to come out with Joe Burrow came out, who would have went number 1? I think it still would have been Trevor Lawrence, because Trevor Lawrence had done it since he been at Clemson. He didn't transfer, and they didn't have to bring in an offensive coordinator that came from the NFL. But yeah, Kevin, you're right. I mean, now, okay, the dust is settled. You got your money. You got you're 6'6", you got the long hair, you got the face. Now the game got to add up, because just like I know, Kevin, 1-15 means I'm on the worst team in football right now. I'm the number 1 pick because I was on the worst team. I'm used to being on the best team. I mean, when Trevor Lawrence loses, that will be the first time he's lost in the regular season ever. He never lost in high school, and he never lost in college in the regular season when he was a starter. So this will be the first time he's lost ever in his life in the regular season in high school and college. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. But I think, too, Kevin, it's like now it's go and earn the respect of your teammates. Go and earn the respect of the league. I know that it got misconstrued when he first came into the league, saying how, he ain't the first one to lead, and first one in, last one out. Doesn't mean he isn't. You got a different type of player right now. He said, if I would have never played football, I would have been just fine. I think that makes them play better. Just because I didn't need football don't mean I'm not going to come out here and tell y'all behind up. Have you seen this guy play football before? So, yeah, Urban Meyer, Jacksonville, they got their guy. They got the face of their franchise. But he is a rookie, and he's never taken a snap yet.
This is an interesting, dichotomy as well, because I think when we evaluate Trevor Lawrence, do you look at him and say, if it works or if it doesn't work, either way? If it doesn't work, is it Trevor Lawrence or is it Urban Meyer? Like, is it Trevor Lawrence that maybe underachieved, or was it Urban Meyer that wasn't ready for the big show in the National Football League? I think there's going to be an interesting discussion if Trevor Lawrence, I won't say bust, but maybe just doesn't perform to where people think he is. Is it Trevor Lawrence, or is it maybe Urban wasn't the right coach for him? I'm interested to see how those discussions go as he plays out. I think he's going to be successful, but if he's not, is it him? Like the same way we would do with anybody else, or is it, Urban Meyer, maybe not the coach for him to maximize his talent?
It might be a little bit of both. I mean, Urban Meyer, let's face it, he could be over his head.
What's your gut on Urban Meyer? You think it's going to be good, or you think no?
I don't. I kind of want to give him a say. I don't want to say it's not going to be good this early, because they are in the AFC South, so they're in a very, very winnable division. I mean, Deshaun Watson, who knows what's going on in Houston? You got to be able to Pennsylvania is now in Indianapolis, and obviously you got to be you got to be able to tackle, Derrick Henry, and you got to deal with AJ Brown to go along with Julio Jones. But I think the criticism is going to be fair because Kevin. I mean, I look at Trevor Lawrence the same way I'll look at when Cam Newton went to Carolina. Wasn't nobody checking for Carolina when Cam Newton went there? Did nobody think that Carolina will become a contender? Cam Newton ended up becoming a regular season MVP and taking Carolina to the Super Bowl. That they ain't win it. I'm gonna look at Trevor Lawrence the same way. Trevor Lawrence, only thing he didn't do, he didn't win he didn't win a Heisman. Cam Newton won the Heisman, won the national championship, was #1 overall pick. Trevor Lawrence just didn't win the Heisman. He did everything else. So, I mean, like I said, since Cam Newton has left Carolina, they've had Teddy Two Gloves Bridgewater. Now they got a Sam Darnold. Ain't nobody checking for Carolina right now. I look at Jacksonville and Trevor Lawrence the same way. If you are who you say you are, prove it. And that's the NFL, right, wrong, and indifferent. And I think, Kevin, real criticism is what Trevor Lawrence will have to do. But playing at Jacksonville going to help him because that's not a major media market. Places like New York and L.A. and Chicago, Dallas, they'll eat you alive with the media markets. I think he'll be fine, but he's going to have to go out there and win because this division, dare I say, he's still the 4th best quarterback in the league in that division because he hasn't played yet. But he got a shot there, trying to go out there and maybe make it a season if you can find a way to win one or dare I say win the series against Tennessee.
Yeah, I think I'm interested to see how it goes with Urban Meyer because we've seen other guys. Nick Saban tried it, and you could say, well, he was trying to get a different quarterback, and had he gotten Drew Brees, maybe it'd be a different story. But we've seen guys. I know Pete Carroll is an example. People say, "Oh, that worked." Well, he was a pro guy, went to college, and then went back. How many guys have we seen been strictly college, jump into the NFL, no matter how good they were, and just stick? I mean, Nick Saban, it didn't. He left and went back to Alabama, and the rest is history. I want to see it play out too, but gut feeling right now, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
If I just dig down and go in my gut, do I think this is going to be a slam dunk? And I don't know. I think I would lean more towards no than yes.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, and again, maybe that's not, and I know that's not fair, but I'm just saying, as of today, July 5th, what does my gut tell me? I don't know. My gut tells me this could be maybe not go well.
Well, I mean, I want to see how Urban Meyer handles criticism because he has proven to not handle it well in the past because he's had tremendous success, everywhere he's been. But when he starts losing, do we make it about him or do we start talking about the players? Because what he's going to realize is that's not going to fly in the NFL. This is the first time that, I don't know, your players make more than you. Your players are more famous than you. And at Florida and, Utah and, Ohio State, that stuff will fly. And I know you got famous down the road, 45 minutes down the road in Gainesville. Them boo birds will come out if y'all ain't getting it done. I just want to see how Urban Meyer handles it because he's good at deflecting blame, not so much as accepting blame.
We'll see. NFL right around the corner. I saw our good friend Matt Smith saying 1 month from today, we have a real live tackle football game out there. I think it's the Hall of Fame game, but I mean,
yes,
in a month from today, there will be a football back for us to consume. So we'll keep that in mind as well. We'll come back. Braves and Pirates coming up tonight. A big 3-game series against a bad team. Why is it important? We'll get to that next. 3 and Out on the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Great to be here with you on this Monday. Kevin Thomas, Ben Troop, glad you are with us. Braves and Pirates coming up here in just a little bit. As Ben, Braves coming off a 2-3 take over the Florida Marlins. Win that series, stay 3.5 behind the Mets. Now you have the Pirates, who are bad Pirates. Second worst record in the National League. And the Marlins to finish up before the All-Star break. Pretty favorable. Got to take care of business against a team that hadn't scored more than 2 runs in their last 7 games. So offense, very anemic. You're in a hitter-friendly park in PNC where you should be able to score some runs. And like to see him go out there and take it to the Pirates here, 1-2-3.
Yeah, and you hope that the Braves are just don't play down to bad competition. That's the thing. The frustration with me with the Braves is, like I mentioned, you'll have the Braves they'll have series against the Dodgers. It'll be Bauer one night, it'll be Kershaw the next night. You think it's going to be lights out for the Braves, and they'll win both games. And then they'll play a team like the Pirates. And it's the top of the ninth. They tied 2-2. I understand that when it comes to the Pirates, they are in the bigs. They got good enough players, but I think if you're the Braves, Kevin, it's about momentum. It's about confidence. It's about making sure that lead stays at 3.5, or don't get no higher than 3.5 going into the All-Star break. That makes the All-Star break not just a needed rest for most of the league and most of the players, but you coming out of this thing raring to go. But yeah, this Pirates team is going to play the Braves tough. If anybody on the Pirates staff and pitching staff hits Ronald Acuna Jr., I expect the benches to clear. Bigger than just for Acuna. You got to show Acuna, man, this kind of stuff is unacceptable. I don't think that's going to be the plan moving forward. I know that they got the Marlins coming up after the Pirates going right before the All-Star, right before the All-Star game. But yeah, Braves got to go out there and get these next couple against the Pirates, just from a momentum standpoint, just from a confidence standpoint. And if you're the Braves, you don't need to be losing to bad teams when you're trying to stay competitive in that at least that with DeGrom and I think they still got 11 games left, 8 to 11 games left against the Mets this season. Get a big win with the Pirates tonight. They used to it. The Pirates are saying, look, man, the season's way too long for us. We already got our vacation plans. Don't give them no confidence, because all they want to do is go out there and beat it. It's not going to help them the rest of the season, but just to beat a surging team like the Braves right now.
Yeah, how you play against the just awful teams to me is very telling. If you want to be a postseason team, you got to play well against the bad teams. And again, would a sweep be nice? Yes, but you can't lose 2 out of 3. You got to go out and take 2 out of 3 at the very least against these Pirates, and then head into the weekend against the Marlins team, who, again, I think you're kind of playing head games with now. Ben, you hit Ronald Acuna, you come out there. They weren't going to toss anybody, and Brian Snitker goes, no, he should be out of here, man. There's a history here, and they end up tossing him, and then Don Mattingly gets mad, and that kind of set the tone for the whole series and the kind of the chippiness that we see with the Braves and the Marlins. So, man, I think you go out, set the tone early, and leave no doubt against a team that's bad like Pittsburgh, and try to chip into this lead. Again, if you can go into the All-Star break maybe down a game and a half, wow, what a huge momentum boost. As you said, you're coming out of the All-Star break in that mindset of we're in it, and you have a trade deadline where maybe you can make a move to really throw yourself over the top. A lot of momentum, but as you said, got to go out and do it against just awful teams like the Pirates.
The Braves in the last couple of games, last couple of series have definitely shown a lot of fight. They're not a team that seems to want to just bury their heads in the sand because of everything that's that hasn't gone on. Ronald Acuna and Freddie Freeman are playing extremely well. Ozzie, being an all-star reserve is showing that his bat has gotten really, really hot as of late. Austin Riley, if he can remember to make sure he get his foot on that bag, you don't need Max Fried to bail us out. You're not throwing the baseball, but walk-offs. But yeah, the Braves understand what's at stake. They seem to play better under pressure, under adversity, and I hope they use that. I hope they just blow the doors off this Pittsburgh team. I just think that the Marlins and the Braves are developing a nice little rivalry. I like rivalries. I like teams that genuinely don't like each other. But I just think that for me, throwing at a guy who's one of the face of baseball, Kevin, when we was talking about earlier, that just can't happen. And Snit, I'm just saying, Mattingly coming out said, there's no history there. They should have threw him out for that. Forget what he said. Throw him out for that nonsense. There ain't no history there. Get out of here. They've been throwing at Ronald Acuna since he's been like a rookie, man. It's nonsense. So yes, get it, but don't look ahead to the Marlins just yet. Take care of Pittsburgh, like you said, Kevin. If it's you always want to win the series. You don't got to win every game, but they want to win 2 out of 3. Would love to get 3 out of 3 because them pesky Marlins are coming, and we forget, Kevin, this Marlins team, they was a playoff team last year, too. So it's not that they lacking talent, but yeah, no more throwing at Ronald Acuna. Get a big dub tonight, man, to keep that momentum going.
Certainly. And again, I think Max Fried with a chance to be the hero 2 days in a row. He got the walk-off hit last night, and then he's the starting pitcher for you tonight against Pittsburgh. And again, the Pirates haven't scored more than 2 runs in their last 7 games. Braves starting pitching has really been well the last 2-3 weeks. Has really stepped up, taking it to another level. So we'll see if they can get it done tonight. We'll have pregame coverage for you coming up in about 7 minutes or so here. But coming out of the July 4th, obviously, I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. And again, we're not going to quite do Joey Chestnut levels, but maybe I'll have like Christian asked me before the show. He said, "Did you eat a hot dog yesterday?" I'm like, "No," or a hamburger. I was like, "No, I didn't eat either one. I had a steak." I was like, "Is that more? Is steak more American than a hot dog or a hamburger?" I'm trying to see if I got the 4th of July thing.
If it ain't, listen, I ain't mad at you because you had a steak. I was on a meat duty yesterday. As far I had to cook the hot dogs, I had to cook the hamburgers, I had to cook the chicken, but I wasn't. Now I know people saying, "Well, Ben, you ain't put up on social media." That's none of y'all. I will not be putting my food. Listen, I'll tell you this: it ain't Lincoln Riley. I bet you that I know it ain't looking like that. But no, I was on the hot dogs and hamburger duty yesterday, and I was on the chicken duty yesterday. The kids, ate it. Our kids, Kevin, they don't know nothing about no tradition. They just want something to eat. They want the fireworks. That's all they kept asking about. Can we get the fireworks, Daddy? Can we get the fireworks, Uncle Ben? I said, listen, number one, y'all ain't getting nothing but out the way.
Yeah.
You ain't lighting nothing. But I just think that, yes, 4th of July, it's the hot dog and hamburger Super Bowl, if you want to call it that, and the fireworks. But yeah, we had a great time with my mom.
Super Bowl, it's pizza, right? That's by and large. Super Bowl, you feel like pizza or chicken wings.
Yes.
New Year's Day, what is it? The New Year's Day is like in the South, it's what? Black-eyed peas and greens.
Yeah, black-eyed peas and greens. Yes.
And, 4th of July, everybody says hot dog hamburger. So I was like, am I supposed to be like less patriotic because I didn't have a hot dog or hamburger yesterday? Like, I don't, I'm just asking if I'm
no. You wasn't
trying to keep my food street cred out there.
You wasn't less patriotic. No. And listen, don't take this the wrong way. You a man. You wanted a steak. That's fine. Now I wanted a steak too, but I had to cook it. So I'm like, no, I can't cook. I can't cook it and I eat it. So I said, Daddy, I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm about to get a grill in my house so I can get good at cooking the steak first. And obviously, I'm gonna let you guys come through and taste, because one thing about it, we can tell each other the truth. We know each other. We're friends here. But I didn't want my first steak to be at my mama's house, and the kids looking like, Daddy, what is this? And
we have tried to reform you on the steak.
Yes.
From extra well done to
no.
Embrace.
Listen, medium well. In the words of Mark, Mark Douglas, I will no longer be ordering the shoe leather. I promise I won't be eating the shoe leather.
Just try medium. It's a little red in the middle. It's good.
That animal did not die in vain messing with me. I promise you that.
We will make sure his sacrifice was well worth it. So, again, we appreciate Gaurav Vidak, Talking Chop, joining us here on 3 and Out on this Monday. Again, we hope to have BJ back with us tomorrow on the show. We'll see if the Braves are one step closer to maybe drawing in to those pesky Mets who just did a number on the Yankees over the weekend. Mets and Brewers early this week. Brewers in first place, just way out in front in the Central. Maybe have the one of the best records in the National League. So maybe a chance for the Mets to slip back to the reality while the Braves have a little easier go of it here right before the All-Star break. So we'll talk about that tomorrow as well. If you missed any portion of the show, ESPNCoastal.com. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, our YouTube page at ESPN Coastal. You get a podcasted version of the show each and every day, or you can watch it on our YouTube page, our Facebook or Twitter page when we do the show live each and every day. As always, conversation continues on Twitter at Pigskin Radio, Braves Pirates coming up next.